Today, we are diving into the words of a 15th century mystic poet from India whose wisdom feels like it could have been written yesterday. We're talking about Kabir, a simple weaver who spun these incredible two-line poems called Dohe. And you'll see their relevance to our modern lives is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. So you can't really get Kabir's poetry without understanding the man himself. See, he wasn't some lofty poet sitting in a palace. He was a weaver, a regular guy. But he was also a total rebel, a powerful social reformer. He used his words like a sharp pair of scissors to cut through religious rules, superstitions, and social divides, arguing for a truth you had to find for yourself. And when you look at his life, you see just how special his perspective was. Born way back in the 14th century, he was a weaver. And that's so important because his poetry isn't some abstract thing. It's woven from the threads of everyday life and hard work. He was constantly challenging the way things were, telling people to look past rituals for what's real. And his words, they're still around today in a collection called the Kabir Granthawali, inspiring people all over the world. Okay, so let's get into his first big idea. And really, this is the foundation for everything else he talks about: the absolute, undeniable power of truth. For Kabir, telling the truth wasn't just a good habit, it was the highest form of spiritual practice. He puts it like this: सांच बराबर तप नहीं, झूठ बराबर पाप. जाके हृदय सांच है, ता हृदय गुरु आप. Now, even if you don't speak a word of Hindi, you can just feel the weight and rhythm in those lines. So what's he actually saying? Let's unpack it together. You really only need to know a few key words to unlock this whole thing. Sach, that's truth. Tap, think of that as intense spiritual effort or self-discipline. Pap, that's sin. And hriday, that's the heart. With just these simple words, Kabir builds an entire philosophy. So what he's really saying is this: the toughest, most meaningful spiritual journey you can take is just being truthful. And the absolute worst thing you can do, be fake. He says, if your heart is true, you don't need to look for a guru or a guide anywhere else. Your own heart becomes your teacher. I mean, what a powerful idea. It's not about following rules, it's about being real. All right, next up, Kabir takes aim at our ideas of status, power, and being important. He asks a really sharp question: what good is being great if that greatness doesn't help anyone? And he explains it with this absolutely brilliant metaphor. Just listen. बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ जैसे पेड़ खजूर, पंथी को छाया नहीं, फल लागे अति दूर. He's painting a vivid picture for us, using an image that anyone, anywhere can understand. So the key pieces of this puzzle are a khajur, which is a date palm tree, panthi, a traveler on a long journey, chaya, which means shade, and atidur, which means super far away or out of reach. You can probably already see where he's going with this, right? And boom, there it is. The date palm is super tall, it's impressive, it looks great. But so what? It's so tall that it gives zero shade to the exhausted traveler walking below, and its fruit way up there, basically impossible to get to. The lesson is crystal clear. If your status, your power, your greatness doesn't help other people, it's completely pointless. It's a critique of empty influence that feels more relevant now than ever. So we've talked about truth and the meaning of greatness. Now Kabir gets super practical with some everyday advice. His philosophy isn't just about big abstract ideas. It's about how we can live better day to day. And for him, a huge part of that is finding balance. This one almost sounds like a mantra for moderation. Listen to the rhythm. Ati ka bhala na bolana, ati ki bhali na chup. Ati ka bhala na barasna, ati ki bhali na dhup. The word he keeps repeating is ati, which means excess or too much. He's saying that extremes are always a bad idea. Too much talking causes problems. But then again, too much silence isn't good either. Too much rain gives you a flood, too little sun gives you a drought. For everything in life, whether it's our own words or the weather, he's pointing us toward that sweet spot in the middle. Balance is the key. All right, get ready for this one, because this might just be Kabir's most surprisingly modern and challenging piece of advice. In our world, where we're all about blocking out negativity, Kabir says, nope, do the exact opposite. He says you should actually invite your critics in. This one is legendary, and for good reason. Nindak niyare rakhiye, angan kuti chhawaye, bin pani sabun bina, nirmal kare subhaye. It is such a powerful, game-changing idea, all packed into two simple lines. Okay, let's decode this. Nindak, that's your critic, the person who always finds something wrong. Niyare means keep them close. Bin means without. Nirmal means pure or clean. And subhaye, That's your very nature, your character. This is just wow. Kabir says you should keep your critics so close that you actually build them a little house in your own backyard. Why on earth would you do that? Because he says that person will clean your character and make you a better person. And get this, they do it all without needing any soap or water. They do it just by showing you your own flaws, giving you a chance to see yourself clearly and grow. It's basically the 15th century guide to embracing constructive feedback. So after all that, what's the big picture? When you weave all these different threads of wisdom together, you get this incredibly clear and powerful guide to living a meaningful life, a guide that is as relevant today as it was centuries ago. For over 600 years, think about that, 6 centuries, people have been turning to Kabir's simple couplets to help them navigate their own complicated lives. His wisdom just doesn't get old, because he's talking about things that are fundamentally human. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to a few core ideas. Put truth first, always. Measure your own greatness by how much you help others. Look for balance and stay away from extremes. And, this is the tough one, learn to see criticism not as an attack, but as a gift that helps you grow. It's all a call to live a simpler, more authentic life. And that brings us to a final thought, something for you to take with you. That idea of a critic being a purifier is so profound. So here's the question for us, living in our world of endless feedback, social media comments, and performance reviews. Who or what is the critic that you've been tuning out? And what amazing things might you learn about yourself if you finally decided to build them a little house in your courtyard and just listen?